computer? Okay, all right. We're now both being recorded, audio and visual.
Okay.
So just ignore it. A good laugh always releases. So okay, so you're nervous, understandably. I don't know when the interview is. Can you give me the date?
The interview's on Thursday, the first one.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so they haven't given me any details about who's going to be there, except they've said she said the SMT.
Okay.
So she said the SMT, but then when she goes on to explain about the second interview, if you're shortlisted for that, she specifically mentions the CEO. And I would have thought the CEO is part of the SMT.
SMT, yes.
So I'll just check that. And I thought he would have been part of the first and second interviews, really, but I'll ring and find out. And also, I'm assuming that it's going to be more of a competency-based interview at the first one, because there's no presentation. There's a presentation for the second one, which is much fairer, actually, because not a lot of time really to get a presentation ready.
No. And you've got more of an idea as well what they're looking for if you
exactly.
The first interview.
But last time round they did the interviews, the presentations the first time.
Okay.
So at the first interview it was presentation to the management team. Then it was the SMT. Then it was a psychometric test. This time it's SMT interview, psychometric test.
Better. Okay, because they only do psychometric tests then for people who get to the second interview, don't they?
They only do what, sorry?
They only do the psychometric tests for people who actually get to the second interview.
Usually they do, but this time around they're doing it on the first interview, first stage.
Oh, okay, all right.
So Thursday,
okay,
SMT and psychometric test.
Psychometric, okay, fine.
Yeah.
All right. So, practice. All right. So it would have been great if I'd had the time to ask for your job description, but I didn't because I was out all day yesterday and we got back home late. So there might be things I might not know because I haven't read the job description, in which case just correct me, okay?
Right.
So
I didn't mean we should do it straight away today, because I knew you wouldn't have had time to read stuff. I was wondering whether or not we could fit in an extra session. That was what I was thinking, but it's entirely your call.
No, that's much better. That would be much better, and that's what I was thinking. So it's good to know that we're both thinking in the same way. Yes, fantastic. Well done, you. So I put down the note at the end of last week's session that we'd continue what we were doing last week, but concentrate on what we call roles, responses and reasons, which is really helpful for your grimace. We've called it the grimace now, so I'll go on calling it the grimace. Because it gets you to understand more clearly how what you're saying is being reacted to by the people you're telling it to.
Right.
Okay. So now we can do that, or we can do something else that you would rather do.
No, we'll do that.
Okay, all right. Well, I will pull up the file because I've just realised I've been so busy looking at other aspects that I haven't pulled up the file that I want to use as a source. Okay. Die. Okay. All right, we are getting there. All right, so where are we? There you go. And 4. Okay. No, not you. 4. There you go. That's it. All right, so when we talk of roles in this context, it's the roles that we play at work. And I don't mean Belbin team roles, but just, what we do. Are we a mentor? Are we sometimes a critic? what are we? Are the responses that they create in the other person and the reasons why you love your roles. Okay, so when I did this exercise a couple of years ago, I wrote down my roles as researcher. No, my roles that I feel most comfortable in as an individual are researcher, mentor, guinea pig, hermit, artists. But the role I play in a group are teacher, mentor, hedonist, sage, joker, researcher, guinea pig, creative, catalyst, cheerleader, coordinator, implementer.
Right.
So we have different roles in different areas of our life. So when I mean, so let's look at what roles you consider or you think you have in relation to a work team.
Well, I think I am a mentor. I think I'm a teacher.
Yep.
I think I'm a coordinator as well.
Yep.
I'm a source of ideas.
So you're a creative?
Yeah. And it, I don't know how to say it, but it's ideas that are based on experience as well as new ideas. So people will talk to me because I suppose because I'm experienced.
So that's a sage. In terms of archetypes, it would be a sage.
Right, okay. I think I am a humorist.
So comic, comedian. Oh, that could be a joker. Let's put you down as a joker. That I think fits you better.
Stand-up comedian. I suppose developer is the same as mentor.
Yeah, definitely. Coordinator also means it means seeing the strengths and abilities of people and bringing them out so they can use them and own them and get the satisfaction from them.
Right.
It's much more than the narrow definition in work where it's someone who coordinates all the activities and makes sure they all get done at the right time.
Okay. So I suppose the other thing I think I do, but I don't know what the word is get information out in the round or explore in the round or research in the round so you've got a full picture and then help people to develop.
Yeah, that would be part of the coordinator's role.
Right, okay.
Okay, because you have the overview.
Right. So those are the things that immediately spring to mind.
Okay, and what sort of response do you get from people when you play these roles? What's the one that you get the most positive response from, do you think?
Well, I think you use a bit of everything, don't you, when you're working with different people? So
you do. But there's usually one that you get the most, the response that gives you the greatest satisfaction, one or two.
Teacher.
Okay. Teacher as in I'm teaching, you're listening, or mentor as in let's explore what you know and use what you know and I know together to make something even bigger.
Let's use what you know and I know together to make.
So you're more a mentor.
All right. Okay.
Okay. So you see, you've been in the same position that the other person's been in, but you're several steps ahead. So
yes.
You really completely understand where they've been, what they're feeling now, their difficulties that they might be having. But because you've got more experience than they have, and you've come out of their difficulty, you can help them get out of their difficulty too. But you see yourself in them in a way.
Yeah.
So mentor. Okay, brilliant. I'd place you as a mentor.
And I think the other one is Joker.
Okay. Nice,
So
nice combination.
it's using humour to diffuse situations,
Yeah.
to encourage people to get around obstacles or difficulties.
Yeah.
Relax people.
Yeah.
There's something human about it as well.
Yes. There's something very compassionate about it.
Yeah, so those two.
All right, good. I like those. I think they're very you. And very you. But anyway, so when you use them, why do you use them? Is there a red thread that runs through that you can see that connects? Oh, I use it when I see someone else in or experiencing ...
Hard to articulate, I suppose. Well, I don't know. I don't know. The mentor thing I use with people partly because it's a learned experience for me, and I know it works. And the Joker side is me just well, like I said before, it's diffusing the situation, it's putting people at ease, it's getting the best out of them. It helps to do all that. So I suppose I'm saying I don't know when I use them particularly or why, but I know that it works.
Well, the when for the Joker is easy from the information you've given me, because you say I use it to put people at ease. Well,
Yeah.
so you use it when you know that someone isn't at ease.
Yes.
When you know that there's a tense situation.
Hmm.
You know that it
Yes.
works, but you also use it because of these signs that you spot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The mentor, you said, I know that it works. It's a learned behavior. Give me a little bit more information about that and we can find the when.
Because it's experiences that I've been through. And I've been shown a way of finding a solution. I use that experience with them. So that's what it's about.
Okay, so the when is when you see that someone is going into or already in an experience that you've been through, that you've had difficulties with and you've been helped out of, then you share what you've learned from that other person. Okay, yeah. So that's your when.
Right. It's amazing that you can do this. Out of these words. Yep.
Well, it doesn't take much. It's just intent listening.
Right.
And, having the experience to be able to spot the word that puts a light bulb on in your head and goes, that's it. So you do it often enough. It's like anything, it's like you with marketing and retailing. You do it often enough and it becomes an automatic response, really.
Right.
And I'm not in your head, so I'm not complicating things. I'm finding simple things because I'm not in your head. If you were in my head, you would notice that I complicate things as well. We all do it because we all have a million thoughts going on. Yes, but, yes, but, yes, but, oh, that, yes, but. Mm-hmm. So being outside of your head helps me see the really important thing that you're showing me through the words that you use. Mm-hmm. So it's much easier outside of someone's head. It's easier to see your problems in someone else than it is to see them in yourself. So,
right.
It makes it much, much simpler. Okay, so these are where you make your greatest contribution to the work of the team. As someone who uses her experience to help others. Not as a you must do this, but to through with them, to work it through with them.
Mm-hmm.
So that because of the mentor in you, the joker can help people through their difficulties with a combination of diffusing the situation through a sense of humor, but also by finding solutions because of the mentor.
Yes.
So it's a wonderful combination to have, isn't it? It's a powerful duo of strengths to have in teamwork and in a director.
Yep.
Because you're not making people feel bad that they can't do something. You're saying, it's all good. There's a way out of this. Let's find it. And let's first of all diffuse the situation and your stress, which I know you're feeling, through a good joke, something that will make you laugh.
Yeah.
Okay, like I used the grimace with you this morning and you burst into laughter. There you go, and there it is again, that lovely chuckle. So you do that naturally because it's part of your strengths.
Right.
All right. I would say in your roles, you're also a visionary. And the visionary is an archetype that allows us to talk about seeing things that other people don't see. That's also part of the creative package. Seeing things that other people don't see, seeing what they see, but interpreting them in a different way so that you can make connections that they can't.
Yes.
Okay. So that's part of your mentoring skill as well, because as a director, you also need to encourage people to own and share a vision with you for the work of the team, for the work of the division, for a project. So I know it's a big word, visionary, and you might not see yourself in it. Where do you feel most comfortable in seeing what other people don't see, having that overview and interpreting it in a different way, getting people to share that, which is all the work of the archetype of the visionary, but also of the creative. Do you feel most comfortable using that aspect as the creative, or can you use it as a visionary, use that word visionary, or do you prefer creative?
No, I prefer visionary.
Brilliant. Okay, well done you, because I love it and I think it's perfect for you, and it gives you a way to describe and to talk about this aspect of your work where you can make links between, make connections that others can't, and the mentor in you and the joker in you allows them to find ways to own it, to really own it by making it their own project. Finding ways to make your vision happen because they share it with you and they're excited about you, about it. So, and the possibilities that it has for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think visionary has to go on your roles list. It's certainly an easier word to work around. It might shock people to begin with, but in terms of archetypal psychology, it's the visionary. It's not a word we use very often, except for people like Einstein or Mother Teresa or Frank Lloyd Wright, or even Anita Roddick actually was a visionary. She completely changed the face of consumerism. So
no pun intended.
No pun intended. No. So okay, so roles, response, and joker. So how do you think people respond to your visionary?
Well, from what's happened in my career, I know they respond quite well. I think that the key to that is that nobody's intimidated, or
Excellent.
nobody feels threatened.
How do they respond to your joker?
They laugh with me.
Good. They seem more relaxed afterwards?
Yes, yeah.
And how do they relax with, how do they respond to your mentor?
They appreciate it.
And I know that you've had people in the last role who wanted you to become their mentor.
Yes.
And obviously that's not possible now, that you're no longer there.
Yes, it is, because you don't have to be there to be a mentor. I do it for somebody else as well that I used to work with.
Brilliant. So you get appreciation. The main response from your mentoring role is appreciation.
Mm.
In the Joker role, the response is laughing with you, so they relax, and relaxation frees up a lot more of your intelligence, your critical thinking skills, and your creative skills.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good plus. And your visionary, how do they, you said they respond well to my visionary. Give me an example of responding well.
Well, if I've seen an opportunity to join the dots, to do something slightly differently. So an example would have been working with a developer to develop sheltered extra care accommodation that also included rehabilitation beds. They came with me and thought it was a good idea. They could see the possibilities of what I was doing, and then we took it to the local authority and we talked to them, and that was positive as well. So they were buoyed up not only by what I'd said in the first place or what we developed together, but also, you know, the third party also thought it was a good idea. So they were buoyed up by that.
So their response is to see the possibilities, get excited and enthusiastic.
Yes, and I've had feedback from, well, nearly everywhere that I've worked, that I've always left it in a better place than when I arrived, and that I achieved things. I've changed structures or changed roles, and I've done that by being able to work alongside people rather than tell people what to do. They're not threatened by what I've got to say.
So all of your mentor roles and the responses you get and the reasons that you assume these roles is because there seems to be a consensus that you've always left the role that you've had in a better place than you found it.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's a huge plus for you, isn't it? It's a huge selling point that no matter what the difficulties, you are a people person. You don't teach them, you mentor them, which means that you put yourself on their level. You show them that you completely understand, but you don't let that put you off. The difficulties put you off from your vision, deter you.
Mm.
And I'm wondering if in your roles you should have communicator.
Yeah, that's fairly basic, isn't it?
Yeah. I didn't put it in mine. I completely overlooked it. And I looked at yours and listened to what you were saying, and I thought, well, of course she's a communicator. So I would actually, in a way, possibly let go of teacher, but it's up to you, but definitely put communicator in.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you think you do most? Do you think you teach, you know, I'm the teacher and you're listening and learning, or do you mentor?
Mentor.
So are you happy if we take out teacher?
Yeah.
So you're a mentor, coordinator, creative, sage, joker, visionary, and communicator. So you have very, very strong team building skills.
Do we need creative in there when we've got visionary?
No, we don't. We can take that out. We can take it out. We could put it in for other roles, but for you, we can happily take it out.
Okay.
Because a mentor says that you're also empathic, you're compassionate. You know what they feel, and you adjust what you're saying so that they to their level of being able to hear. The coordinator means you know how to bring out their strengths and to give them the work satisfaction they're entitled to. and to give of their best, which benefits the organization. The sage means that you're happy to use your experience in service of others. The joker means you know when a situation needs diffusing and you're happy to make people laugh and you're good at it.
Mm-hmm.
The visionary means you make connections other people don't make, which allows you to be one step ahead of them, see the full picture, see how it all knits together, while they're perhaps the function specialists. So they're specialists in their part, but they can't see how everything knits together, and they don't see the difficulties in other areas of the work. And the communicator is someone who communicates well, who shares and who needs to share their vision, their experience, how they see things, their sense of humor, their wisdom, who doesn't keep things in her head, but makes it available to everyone at the level they need to work with it on. So I think that is a great combination of roles for you, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, that was a very short yes. How do you feel about it?
I'm just looking at the when we first created the list, we talked about source of ideas, and I wonder whether that's actually encompassed within visionary.
Yes. In the Belbing team roles, there are two creatives within a team. One's called the plant, where the ideas come from themselves, inside them, so they're intrinsically creative, if you like. The other comes from what's called the networker, and the networker's creativity comes from being inspired by what's going on outside of the team or what's going on outside of the company. And they come back into the team and share the idea and say, I thought we might be able to use that in some way. The visionary in archetypal psychology doesn't make that distinction. The visionary is about seeing connections other people don't see. Having a dream and then using often other people to make it come true. So they have creativity, they can access creativity from around them, it doesn't matter. But they put things together in a way that allows them to see a possibility that others can't.
I definitely understand that, but I don't think I am particularly a source of ideas in the sense that I find them from within. I can look outside and think, oh, we could possibly use that.
So you're not the Belbing networker?
I'm not a what?
You're not the Belbing networker, you're the Belbing plant who's intrinsically creative?
No, I don't think I am intrinsically creative.
Okay.
I am the person that networks.
Okay, well then, in which case, don't call yourself a visionary, call yourself a networker. And your creativity stems from your ability to find ideas from outside that may be completely unrelated, but you can see a way to make them work inside, or you think you can see a way to make them work inside the team or the organization. So instead of visionary, networker, and then you can explain that that's your source of creativity. Or if you want, if it's easier for you, you can call yourself a creative networker.
No, I don't like the word creative.
Okay, all right. Well, do you like the word networker?
Yeah.
Okay, well, are you happy with that one?
Yes. I'm just querying this. I've got written down source of ideas as one of the roles I have.
Okay.
And that's what I was just querying with you that
you're not the source.
I'm not. No, I'm not.
That's okay. That's okay. It's up to you, but all I'm trying to do is get it clear for you, trying to help you get clear in your head that you have all of these strengths that aren't covered usually in any strengths survey or questionnaire, but they all mount up to very strong points for you that allow you to make your greatest contribution and add value to the organization. So however you want to call it, I usually tend to sum things up in one word because it's easier for me to remember that one word when I'm under stress. and then I can talk around it once I've got that one word. So if you want to call it, and I've forgotten your one word, your expression, a resource investigator, were you? No. What did you call? What did you call what I'm calling the networker?
I called it a networker, but I had a separate role written down, which was being a source of ideas. And all I'm saying is, well, first of all, I was saying, is there a duplication between that and the networker?
In terms of Belbing, no. That's why I said you might want to call yourself a creative networker. So it's clear for you and you can talk around it. Or stay with what you've got and add it as another category, whichever is easiest for you to remember.
So I'm totally confused now. I guess I understand all the others, and I've got all that.
All right.
And I'm content with that. And actually, I am content to think that that's a role I play. I am a source of ideas, but what I'm saying is my ideas are not things that I come up with myself. They're not intrinsic to me.
That's
they're
all
things
right.
I will either have seen elsewhere or horizon scanned and seen.
Then use that, Hilary. Add that to your list of strengths, of roles.
Okay. Fine.
All right.
Yep. And within that, I think the what's a word that springs to mind is distill, because I can take all that information, either that I've horizon scanned or I've seen elsewhere, and make it into something simple to use.
Good. That sounds great. So you're having visionary and creative, and this later one. This.
Yeah.
Good. That's fine. I'm going to put down horizon scanner because I can keep that in my brain. Horizon scanner and distiller. It's not what you've used, but I can remember that. I've got a block over the other one for some reason. So, okay. So that's quite a lovely bag of strengths, isn't it? Mentor, coordinator, communicator, sage, joker, distiller, networker, visionary. And it gives you lots of points to talk about when they say, how can you add value? What are your strengths? What are you bringing?
Yep.
Good. So they're words to have at the front of your mind at some point in these interviews.
Okay.
And as part of that, your clarity around how people respond to your roles is also something to have at the front of your mind. Is that clear?
Yep.
The reason why?
Yep.
Okay. And also this, I've always left my roles in a better place and my teams in a better place than when I left them. Because that sums up your contribution that you make. Make sense?
Yep.
Good. So what is it about this role that lights you up? If there's one thing that you could put your finger on, what would it be?
It's the cause, and it's the opportunity to be part of that cause and to support it in the way that I can with my skills and my experience.
So contribute to it with your skills.
Mm.
Okay. I'm just making a note. Right. So if I were to give you, let's go back to motivation for a little while. Remember we had the session on motivation, the two forms, away from and towards.
Yeah.
Okay. And that most, more or less everything is driven by either fear or our dreams and goals, what we're reaching towards.
Mm.
When you say what your reason for being inspired by this job, what fires you up is the opportunity to be the cause and the opportunity to be part of that cause and to contribute to it with your skills. I'm going to give you 5 F's, okay? Because most people's reason for being fulfilled by their work falls into the 5 F's. And they're either about external validation or internal. We know where yours come from, but here are the 5 F's. Fame, that's obviously extrinsic. It's focused on, it requires confirmation from outside of yourself. It's about being known or looked up to and respected. Okay. Fortune is also extrinsic because it's about getting money or stuff, fancy cars, big house, and treating that stuff as a measure of your value or score in the game. Facilitation is also extrinsic because while you're focused on others, it's about providing a service to them and adding value. So other people will be involved in whether or not you've added value because it's their response to what you've done that is the facilitation and makes it extrinsic. And the last 2 are flower, which is another word for growth and blossom and bloom. And it's intrinsic, this one, because it's focused on the self. It's all about learning, self-development, and you blossoming into the best version of you can be. The most self-aware, the most compassionate, the most powerful in terms of inner power, not outer. And the last one is fire, which is where you're driven by a cause. And that too is intrinsic because it's focused mainly on others. And it doesn't mean that you need to want to change the world. It just means that there is something that is so important to you. You are willing to make, if you like, sacrifices for it. And for many people, that's their family, their friends or community. That's their fire. Mm-hmm. Okay. So of those 5 fulfillment forms, where do you fall? Which ones of those speak to you and ring true for you?
Facilitation, flower, and fire.
Good. Yeah. So that's what makes you work. So that's the sort of role you can flower in. Mm-hmm. Where you know that you can provide a service to others and add value to them. And that service will be developed right through to becoming successful. It's about joining an organization that allows you to continue to develop yourself, not just your technical competencies, but your soft competencies too, and that appreciates your commitment to being the best that you can be in all areas of your life. I always say the best that I can be is feeling completely at home in my skin, as the French say. Mm-hmm. and not having to wear any of the masks that we refer to in psychology, the masks that create fear in us and stop us from being who we really are. They adapt our behavior, or more precisely, they pervert our behavior so that we can fit in. And the point when we become the best we are is not to fit in, but to stand out. And fire, which you displayed immediately. You saw this job description for the hospice. Mm-hmm. Because it's one of the words you used. It set me on fire. It lit me up.
Yeah.
So, is there a way in which you can see these 5 Fs, or the 3 Fs you've chosen, being helpful to you as you go into the interview? Or is it just useful background information?
It's definitely useful background information, but I know that one of the questions will be, you know, why do I want this job? And it's good to be able to explain that in terms of what it will do for me, both personally and professionally.
Yeah.
It's a more rounded answer.
Yes, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it allows you to touch topics in brief that you might not otherwise have an opportunity to do. It allows you to appear a very well-rounded candidate, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And what about your roles, responses, and reasons? How will that help in your interview? How can that support you?
To give examples of who I am and how I work and what I do and what I'm looking for as well.
Yeah.
And how I can help them.
And it takes you away from technical, hard competence language.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So that you're not seen as one-sided. You're also seen as, for the compassionate, funny, empathic person that you are, creative, resourceful, which aren't technical competencies, but they are hugely important in your ability to be effective in your role. Mm-hmm. So any observations, questions, comments?
Why wouldn't you employ me? I suppose it's all stuff that's somewhere I intrinsically know.
Yes, absolutely.
But I don't necessarily vocalize.
Yeah.
And I need to.
You do. Because it allows people to know you, not just one part of you, but you, because you're more than just technical competence. You've got a whole load of soft competencies that make you you, and that make you so effective in your role because people trust you. They're inspired by you. They like you because you have a great sense of humor. All skills that make your hard competencies possible in a way. They make your achievements possible. Because in going for gold, you've got to bring people with you. You can't have them intimidated or overwhelmed by what you see. Mm-hmm. And people will always be intimidated. Look at Roger. But that's their issue.
Yeah.
So we've got about 15 minutes left in the session. I want to leave you with what we've done today, because I don't think we need to say anything else. I think we just need your brain to reflect on it, metabolize it, and archive it in the way that you can access easily in the interview. In the last 15 minutes, is there anything that you would like to talk through or look at?
Not that immediately springs to mind, no.
All right, in which case, you can always interrupt me, but the work you do that really fulfills you is not just a mental thing, it's also an emotional, it's a sensory thing. So it's visual. You have visual cues that you're enjoying. You have auditory cues that you're enjoying this work. You feel fulfilled by it. You have kinesthetic cues from the body. You have olfactory cues and also gustatory cues. So let's just take a brief look at when you're really stuck into your work and you'll really enjoy it. Perhaps you're mentoring someone, perhaps you're brainstorming with your team, perhaps you're writing a report and it's going really well and you're really enjoying what you're coming up with. Are there any what we call VACOG cues, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, or gustatory cues that you're aware of?
I would have to. I know that I am a visual person because I've done this in NLP before.
Yeah.
And I see things. I see things.
Yeah. What do you see?
Well, if I'm trying to solve something, I see the steps that need to be taken to solve that problem.
Do you see them clearly? How do you see them? Is it an image that you see in front of your eyes? Is it a flash? Is it like a 3D film running before your eyes?
It's certainly not a film.
Okay.
I think it's more of a flash than anything else.
Okay.
That's how I'm going to do it.
Okay. All right. Great. So you get a visual flash where it's all there, all the steps are there, and then you have to work through it cognitively.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine. Anything, what happens to your hearing? Are you aware of anything changing? You might hear words in your head. You might, I hear words in my head. So they come into my right ear and they work down my chin. They work down my jawline until they come out of my mouth.
No, I'm not aware of anything like that.
Okay. Kinesthetic, do you have any sensations in your body? Tingling, butterflies in your stomach, excitement, wow moments where everything expands? Tingling in your toes, tingling on your scalp? A feeling of expansion in your chest or relaxation? There are all sorts of nonverbal cues come from your body.
When something's being sorted out, or we've won the tender for the CQC, or we've written it, there is a sort of a wow moment. Oh, we've done it! A relief, a smile,
How does
pleasure.
that feel? How does that feel in your gut and in your chest area? Are you aware of what happens there?
I haven't been aware, really. No.
Okay. When you read that you'd got oh dear, I've got hiccups. That you'd got the interview for the hospice. Were you aware of any physical sensation? Did you have a release of stress, anxiety?
I had a big grin and a feeling of elation.
Okay, so big grin's good. Feeling of elation. That's more emotion, but the more you do this, the more you can pinpoint the physical sensations that create that feeling of emotion within you. But that's good. That's great. Olfactory. Does anything happen to your sense of smell?
Not that I'm aware of.
This is actually quite a rare one, but every so often you can have it. Gustatory. Does anything happen to your sense of taste? Some people actually say that they find ideas mouth-watering, and their mouth actually starts to water.
Gosh, no, I haven't experienced anything like that.
Every so often I get hungry. Okay, all right. So you're a mainly visual processor.
Yeah.
But you do have some kinesthetic stuff. So that's good. So be aware of those, because the more aware of them you are, the more you understand what happens, the more you're focusing on the pleasure, the excitement, the good stuff, the satisfaction, the more you're bringing your mindset in, you're bringing it back to focusing on the good stuff. So, for example, you can have an idea that really excites you, but in the second afterwards, it starts to worry you because it's a huge idea.
Yeah.
So the more you focus on what's going on in your body or what's going on in front of your eyes, the more, and the positive aspects of that, the more you keep your mindset focused on the positive, and the less power the fear has over you, or the anxiety, or whatever level of fear it is. It might be terror. It might be, how am I going to do this? The more you focus on the visual, what excites you, then the more you can say, and the more easily you can say, well, I don't have to know now. All I need to know now is that it's possible. And when the time is right, I'll find a way. Okay, so knowing your VACOG cues is very helpful for your mindset, because it allows you to focus on the positive and to keep the negative at bay by saying, I don't need to know that now. What I do need to know is that at the beginning of every project, I need to be excited. And only when I start working on the project do I need to start thinking about, this is going to be difficult, or this might be difficult, or there might be a problem there. How am I going to deal with it? I'll deal with it then when I've got more information. Okay. Okay. So, when would you like your extra session? Do you want Wednesday, the day before you go, or do you want a bit more time to prepare?
No, it depends on. Well, first of all, do you want me to send you the application form as I've written it with the supporting statements in, so you can see what I've said about myself?
Yes, that would be fantastic. I'd also like to see the JD. You'll
find that on the website.
Do I have the email address, the website name?
Well, it's just Martin. If you just Google Martin House, it's .org.uk.
Martin House. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, brilliant.
And I hope it's still up. I think it was when I last looked, but okay. I haven't printed off or copied it. So if it's not there, we haven't got it, basically. You've just got my answers.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll see if I can get it. If not, then I'm sure your answers will give me the information that I need.
Okay.
All right.
And then, so then I was thinking Monday or Tuesday, probably.
I think that's a good day. Hang on, just let me check what's happening for me. Okay, that's fine. Tuesday, what time?
What time would suit you?
Give me the afternoon. I'll be brighter. And in the morning, I tend to write.
Okay. So what time?
Any time. After 2.
2:30 UK time.
2:30. Okay, so it's 3:30 for me. Perfect. Yeah, okay. I'll book you in.
And I don't know whether you were thinking the same things, but I was thinking there's probably a list of obvious questions.
Yes, I saw them, and I think that. Sorry, go on.
No, so they were just off the top of the head. They weren't necessarily the questions. It was just to give an example of what would typically be asked.
Yes.
So I thought that if we could agree what the questions were, I could try to prepare some answers that I would give, and then we can craft them. Because no doubt there'll be things that can be improved.
Okay. I have a reservation about that.
Go on then.
Is that what you usually do? Is that how you usually prepare for an interview?
Yeah. Yes. Why?
Well, something in the way you've done previous interviews hasn't worked in your favour, has it?
No, except I have got things in the end.
You have, but you've also lost jobs that you wanted because you've appeared flat. Would that be a fair comment to make?
Yeah.
So this is a question. I don't have the answer, obviously, but this is a question. If we keep doing the same thing that we've always done, we'll always get the same result.
Yeah.
So quite hit and miss.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if it would be better to leave that way of preparing for interviews and to find a slightly different way that would allow you to be more intuitive and empathic to the interviewer's energy and their words and react to that rather than I understand why you prepared like that, but it doesn't leave much room for you to be able to understand what they're not saying and also take that into consideration in the answer.
Okay.
How do you feel?
Yeah, fine.
Want to give it a try?
Yep.
Okay. So I would say, let's use those questions that you've as a starting point. Let me read your application, and let me ask you questions that come up for me from that.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
And we'll record the session like this so you can see if you grimace, if you don't. And then you've got Wednesday to prepare. So what time on Thursday is the interview?
11 o'clock.
Oh, so it's early. You're going down the night before then?
No, this is the one that's in Wetherby.
Oh, of course it is. Of course it is. Yeah. So, oh, that's good. All right. Okay. So Thursday at 2:30 UK time.
Tuesday.
I am so full of the move at the moment. I'm trying to find a blessed apartment to live in.
So did you find one yesterday?
We went to see one, and it's a definite no-no because the sleeping area, or the night area as we call it here, the night zone, is bigger than the day zone. So you have, it's a lovely apartment in many ways, but I hate the area because I'm surrounded by concrete. And after years being surrounded by centennial trees, it's too big a jump for me to make. Quite honestly, I need greenery. And there's a ton of research around how seeing greenery when you look out of your window really improves your mood. So I'm not playing with that one. And also the kitchen is lovely and long, but you walk into a long, dark corridor because it's taken up with a bathroom and stairs. And then you walk into this room that's about that big, and half of it's the kitchen and half of it's the sitting room.
Right.
And, you know, no way. I need a big sitting room because I need to take clients there. I want to have friends over, and friends that come down from Trentino, and the friends that come up from Parma and Carpi. So it's not a home for me.
Right.
It's really not. But it was good to finally see one, and I went to the estate agents who works with my friend the architect Simone, and he works I think he's boss of that estate agents. He wasn't there, but all the team there are really wide awake and sharp and intelligent. And so it looks as though I won't be able to live in Suave, because as the estate agent I did speak to said, who's in charge of rental properties, he said, to get what you need, we have one apartment every 4 years that comes up like that. You are just not going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got another apartment to see in an area I don't really like. We've already been to see it and I hated it. I thought it was a dormitory town with a huge road running right the way through it that takes you from to. So you don't live there. There's no sense of community there, but it is very close to Suave and San Bonifacio. And the apartment seems lovely, seems perfect for me. And it's on the top floor of a 3 or 2 level apartment block, and it's got lovely mature trees around it. So we're going to see that next week. When, I don't know, but we're going to see it.
Okay.
So, and I'm hoping that that will work. And it's close enough to San Bonifacio and to Suave for me to feel comfortable.
Right. Okay.
So, but what you never know until you go and see these things.
No,
And,
you don't.
you know them in their context. So, because time is running out, it really is, and it's getting slightly concerning. But I've got other options if I can't find a home straight away. But the longer I take to find a home, the more difficult it's going to be for me to prepare for the big project coming up in the schools.
Yeah.
And I need much longer to prepare for that because I have to do it all in Italian.
Right.
So, but anyway, so it was good. We had a hilarious day because I went down with Taya and we get on like a house on fire. She's seen Suave every time I've seen it, so she knows how beautiful it is, particularly the walled city and the castle. But this time she decided to fall in love not with the town itself, but with the name. So if you can imagine a scene out of an old Valentino film, and she was calling the name of her loved one. She kept saying, Suave. I love that name, Suave. Quindi, in the end, it was just us playing silly buggers with her being totally in love with the name. Sod the beauty of the town. It was hilarious. We had a great day. And we've said that the next time we go down, we'll go down with Leo as well. Because the three of us have great fun together. So,
right.
So we'll go down in a threesome. So if he's not busy looking for work, we'll go down. So good day. We're getting a bit closer in the sense that I've seen an apartment now, and I've got closer to people who understand my needs and who seem to be sharp on the button. So it feels a bit better. I feel a bit more in control of the situation.
So this apartment that you have, that's got the road running through the city.
Yeah.
How long will it stay on the market for if you've already seen it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I'm going to be the first one to see it. At least I hope I'm going to be the first one to see it. I was trying to see it yesterday, but the owner couldn't make it, so we put it back. But now the estate agent is agreeing with the owner when I can go and see it.
Right.
I ideally want to go and see it in the day so I can hear the noise outside and the noise of the tenants. So it's got this big road running through it. It's not a city. It's got about 13,000 residents. So it's not. San Bonifacio has almost 22,000. Suave has about 15,000. So, but it's closer to Verona. It's in between San Bonifacio, Suave, and Verona. So, and it's got a train station as well. So, if I don't want to go in the car, or if I can't go in the car, my back's playing up and I can't drive, then I can get the train.
Right.
So, so we'll see. So, I don't like the feel of the place, but that there are always compromises to make. And where you buy a home and what it's like. So this might have to be the compromise I have to make.
Right.
Given that San Bonifacio is looking increasingly unsafe, particularly in the evening. Suave, I can't get my needs met because there's not the availability. And for every apartment that goes on the market in Verona, in the province of Verona now, there are 100 applicants.
Yeah.
So what are the chances? I have to get in really quick to have a chance.
Hence the question about when you might see this one.
Yeah.
And how long have you got the place that you're in?
I've got it till the end of February, but I need to start clearing it out in the middle of February, so that, because my back is bad at the moment. Movement, or the most simple movement, is causing me a lot of pain, and I don't want to dose up on painkillers every day, because it's ignoring that there's a real problem there that I need to get sorted. So I've said the end of the second week in February, that's 17th or 18th, I think the Sunday is, I need to be out of this apartment, so that I have 2 weeks. Taya will come down and help me. Anna Rita said she tried to come from Trondheim to come and help me. Taya will help me. Leo will help me with, you know, the masculine stuff, the moving stuff around. Leah will help me with the cleaning. Anna Rita will help me with moving stuff around. So I'm hoping to be able to be in an apartment and feel it vaguely like home by the end of February, so I can start work at the beginning of March.
Okay.
But you have to change your life, you have to change your doctor, and that's a whole rigmarole. I've got to change my bank, and that's a whole rigmarole. So it's very disruptive changing house here, particularly changing region that you live in. So, but anyway, it's all positive in the sense that it's allowing me to be more active, more proactive. Yesterday we went to the big libraries to say, this is what I do. I'd like to give 2 free evenings. Who do I need to talk to? So I've already got I can't remember what you call it in English, but there's a person in the region who is responsible for all the cultural events, and they don't coordinate them all. They'll coordinate the top level, but then they have a team of local, on the ground coordinators to make them happy, to make them happen. So I've already started to find ways to earn money, because I'll lose my local clients here. So that means a huge drop in my income, which is ever so slightly worrying. But the rent I'm going to have to pay has almost doubled. Right. From here to going down to Verona. So it's a delicate time. But if I handle it well, if I use the support I have around me, and I have a ton of support this year, which is just fantastic, I will get through it, and I will get through it well, and it will take me up to the next level of my work, where I'm much more visible and have much more influence. So good. So we'll see what happens. So, yes. So I will see you on Tuesday at 2 your time. And in the meantime, I will go on to Martin House and look for the JD, and you will send me your application. Okay, brilliant. Will do. Okay. All right. Fantastic. See you later. Thank you very much. Day. Bye. Bye.